Hey there, Mouseketeers! Welcome to the Disneyland Beat, where our toes tap to a Disneyland drum and we always whistle while we work.
February 2020 has presented some interesting challenges at Disneyland, particularly in the mornings. But in today's video, we try to break it down so you won't have any anxiety about visiting the park.
Today, we're going to look at the morning situation and therefore the virtual queue system for Rise of the Resistance.
We're also going to do a construction and refurbishment update, as Disneyland has finally released some dates and the place has turned into Scrimtown.
And finally, we're going to look at some of the cool new things happening at the park with Avengers Campus and the new Magic Happens Parade opening at the end of the month.
So be sure to stick around and get all your questions answered as we get the latest beat on Disneyland.
Welcome back, folks. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe so you don't miss a single Disneyland beat. So, Rise of the Resistance is open and it's really a cause for celebration. People are being blown away by the high quality of this ride and the amazing experience it offers. You really want to get down there and ride this one.
However, Disney has confirmed that the opening of the ride has caused a surge in attendance at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. And in particular, because of the virtual queue system they are running, it has dramatically impacted the dynamic of mornings at the parks.
You can't just get in line for this ride. You have to use the Disneyland app on your phone or use a digital kiosk inside the park to get a boarding pass. These become available the second the park opens at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m.
What are boarding groups for Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance?
Boarding groups are the means of organizing guests into groups when it's their turn to ride. Disney is creating 160 boarding groups and 160 backup boarding groups each day.
For example, rather than having a set 2 to 4 p.m. return time, you might be in boarding group 35. Your return time is not specified in advance, but rather based upon how quickly the attraction cycles the guests through who are in front of you in the virtual queue, plus how many or few times it breaks down in that day. If you are assigned a boarding group, you will likely be riding the ride that day. If you were assigned a backup boarding group, well, it just depends. They have made it into the 80s on backup boarding groups on their best day, but not further, and some days as few as 40 might make it onto the ride.
Rise of the Resistance, in all its complexity, does a fairly good job of cycling guests through it. We're estimating it can process 1,100 to 1,300 rides an hour, and if the ride is working a successful 12-hour day, it can process 15,000 to 16,000 riders throughout the day. Considering Disneyland has an unofficial capacity of 80,000, and there are likely at least 50,000 people in the park on any given day, it's just a fact that everyone will not get to ride the ride every day. Of course, these numbers are educated guesses, as Disney doesn't release this kind of info.
If you want to be one of the lucky ones, this is how it's working. The calmer, quiet mornings at the park with people enjoying Main Street and rope drop have been temporarily suspended, and I am now predicting that it's going to be fall until we get them back. Right now it is the off-season, and it's pretty crowded. As spring break and Easter approach, the crowds are going to intensify. Now you need to head into the park about 90 minutes early, prior to park opening, to get inside Main Street by park open to be there to try and get a boarding pass. If you're driving and you're parking, then I recommend going to the security in the parking lots, Toy Story parking lot if it's open, if you can, as the lines have gotten really long for security. Harper Boulevard side security has gotten really long, too.
You need to get to the Esplanade prior to 60 minutes before the park opens if you want to get in the queue. The lines have been backing up all the way to DCA, and they have been closing the harbor security entrances for periods of time as the Esplanade is too full.
They have been opening the gates about 30 minutes before park open, and once you're inside the park, you're going to notice a new morning tension in the crowd as folks really are staring at their phones and stealing themselves for the results.
Once the park countdown happens, you have to swipe left from the Rise of the Resistance screen. You get to this screen from various ways, either the map or the Rise of the Resistance header, where you click the Find Out More button. It will navigate you to the screen. You will have a button that says Join Boarding Group. If it's red, click it. You will hopefully be assigned to a group. If it's gray, swipe right and then left again to refresh the screen. Do not back out of the app. Some folks have accidentally backed out of the app, and by the time they get back to it, the groups are all gone. For a few seconds, the street goes silent and gets amazingly tense, and then shouts of celebration or despair start to ring out as everyone discovers whether they got into a group or didn't.
Here's a thought, folks. If you don't get a group, we are super sorry. And try not to let it get you down. Remember, you still have Disneyland to spend your day at. And that's an amazing thing. You're gonna have a good day. And if you do get a group, consider that many didn't. And they might be kind of disappointed, so try to be courteous and not rub it in anybody's face.
I also think that Disney should be forcing a waiting period before you can get another one. And in that spirit, we ask that if you did get a boarding pass on Monday, let some other folks get them on Tuesday.
We want to take a second to mention what happens in the park after the moment this all goes down. Now, a lot of people leave the park, okay, and they're heading to DCA, or they're heading out to have breakfast and then come back once their boarding group is called, or they're gonna go sleep in. I don't know, but a lot of people leave the park. And once the rope drops and the emotion all settles, the park, especially on weekdays, is not too bad. The mornings are kind of what you would expect in the off-season. I would consider it still slightly larger crowds than normal, but still very manageable.
Okay, so you managed to get a pass. Well done. All you can do is keep an eye on the app. It will show you what boarding group they are serving at any given point, and you will also receive notification about when to return. Don't worry too much about other reservations you might have if you are at lunch or have a fast pass reservation.
You should know that having a reservation at Oga's, Cantina, the Droid Depot, or Savi's does nothing to improve your chances at riding Rise of the Resistance. Also, extra magic hours and magic morning do not affect this. The virtual queue opens when the entire park opens.
If you are persistent and positive, we know that Disney magic will happen to you. Maybe you, like many others are doing, want to get park hoppers on your next trip so you can try your luck each morning you are there.
And if you are not concerned with riding the Rise of the Resistance at the moment, or you already have, and you just don't like a lot of crowds, maybe for the first time ever, we're going to give the advice of coming to the park a little bit late. Maybe try to get to security about 30 minutes after the park opens, so they've had time to process the crowds, and your day will probably be a lot calmer.
Whoa, what was that? Did you see that flying by over there? There it goes again. I swear I saw...
What?
I think I saw Spider-Man flying through the air across the Esplanade at DCA.
I knew it. Why else would they have that big crane hook thing there?
If you look at the design of Galaxy's Edge and Avengers Campus, they are teasing a lot of higher level stages throughout the land. In Galaxy's Edge, there is a stage above the speeder hangar that had a show on it at opening. I really hope they bring it back.
Yeah, you're right. The concept art for the Avengers Campus has the Avengers running around the rooftops of the show buildings, not to mention our swinging Spidey friend. Disney recently teased footage of the new Spidey animatronic, which is a huge upgrade from the stickbot we saw months ago. Let's just be honest, between Spider-Man, the new A1000 models in Galaxy's Edge, and Pandora, and all the new animatronics teased for the Beauty and the Beast ride in Japan, audio animatronics have taken huge innovative leaps recently. It's a good time to be a robot at Disney.
Yes, kudos to Disney. What a great addition to the land. If they have a Spidey animatronic swing past hitting poses every now and then, it's going to add a ton of kinetic energy to the land, something obviously lacking from Galaxy's Edge, which relies on immersive sound design but very few kinetic visuals.
I know. I'm excited to see what meet and greet area they're going to construct for the Avengers Campus. I bet there's going to be a bunch of cool ones.
Okay, so can you remind me about what we do know about Avengers Campus?
Well, the big thing is the Worldwide Engineering Brigade, or WEB ride, where guests will board gondola-style swinging ride vehicles and aid Spider-Man in capturing all the released Spider-Bots. It will be an interactive ride, combining screen and practical elements, although we anticipate it will be pretty heavy on the screens. But here's hoping. And it looks like you get to shoot webs during the ride. We think it's going to use tech similar to the Ninjago ride at Legoland, where you just have to use hand gestures to activate your web slinging.
Okay, right. And we get a web supplier shop to go along with it too. There is talk of a second ride, but that is phase 2, so not this year.
Right. We also get the PIM test kitchen.
Right. Ant-Man and the Wasp themed. So they use PIM particles to grow and shrink food. Maybe you could order a giant beer or something.
There's also talk of a Doctor Strange stage show, and his sanatorium is on the proposed map. Now, this looks promising. When we lost the Jedi training over at Disneyland event for the youngsters, it was really unfortunate, and it's been greatly missed. So this STEM and science-based experience may bring some of that type of energy back and allow children an opportunity to participate in a longer experience, culminating in a fun stage show that parents and the rest of the crowd can watch and enjoy.
Yes, we are really looking forward to Avengers Campus opening and adding a land to go along with Mission Breakout. The new land plus future construction is going to add a lot to Disney's California adventure.
Yeah, we were not the biggest fan of losing a Bugs Land. We actually thought it was pretty cute. I just know Heimlich is going to end up in some weird place, like some rich person's backyard. But, Avengers Campus really does promise a lot more. It looks amazing. It's going to add a whole lot to the park.
So how's that prediction you made that there wouldn't be a ton of construction and refurbishments going on this year treating you?
Oh, yeah, I know. Bad call there. There's definitely a lot of construction going on. Disneyland in particular is looking like a scrim town these days. But we did call some of it.
All right, it's okay. What's our rundown of construction in February at the parks?
Well, if you visit Disneyland in February 2020, you will find 3 of our favorite rides covered with tall painted scrims. We knew about Snow White. We knew it would be closed January 6th for a months-long refurb. You can check out our video on the details of that. We also knew about the Haunted Mansion, that it was going to be getting a refurb not for as long. It closed January 21st, but it's going to be down for the whole month of February, I bet. And also, we did not report on King Arthur's Carousel going down for some TLC, and it's going to be down for the entire month of February. However, Indiana Jones is still open, and although it is going to get a refurbishment this year, it's just not during February. Not yet.
Right. Also, February 10th to 13th, the sailing ship Columbia will go down for annual maintenance. As you can imagine, it's pretty important that those ropes and rigging points work.
At DCA, we still have the red car trolley down, but the bakery tour, which was down for a couple of weeks, is going to reopen February 11th. Grizzly River Run will open as well on February 13th from its winter refurbishment, and if you want to take a chilly ride down the river, you are good to go.
You may not want to ride the ride, but the park is not the same without the mountain, river, and waterfall running.
That's so true. It adds so much natural calm and serenity to the area. The Mark Twain was down, but it just reopened yesterday, February 6th. The only other ride we see is Jesse's Critter Carousel. It's going down for a week starting February 24th, so it'll be open most of the month.
That doesn't mean you won't see a lot of evidence of construction, though. It's all over. Tomorrowland is continuing to update its wall murals as well as complete its new mystery stairs to the terrace.
Fantasyland is almost completely covered in scrims, as both facades are getting maintenance completed behind them. With both castle walls and the carousel and scrim, it's a bit surreal at the moment. More than normal.
And of course, Avengers Campus is rapidly under development behind the Stark Industries walls. Well, Mouseketeers, we're going to close out this video talking about something that looks truly magical.
The Magic Happens Parade opens on February 28th. This parade that was teased at D23 this past year looks really cool. It incorporates some of our most recent and favorite characters. Like from Moana, Pua, and Maui. And from Coco, we've got Miguel and Hector. This parade includes some fan favorites like Sleeping Beauty, who I always think deserves a spot in a parade here because it is her castle.
We cover this parade in greater detail in a previous video, but it's worth a second look at the fantastic floats that we can expect. We know it's a daytime parade, but nonetheless, Disney is hyping up its LED and LCD screen effects, so we are curious to see what kind of Disney magic they've been up to. Overall, the parade floats look gorgeous, and it will be nice to have something new, and we love the new characters being included.
Do you think Mickey looks kind of tall in the promo graphic? I think he grew a few inches this past year.
He's a healthy, growing mouse. It's his Lunar New Year after all. You look great, Mickey.
Well, hey folks, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us at the Disneyland Beat. Please like and subscribe. We've been super happy with the response to this channel, and it's growing really well, and we're so thankful for that, so thank you so much. Please share it with your friends.
We're headed to the parks ourselves for a week in February, so we hope to see you real soon, Mouseketeers.
See you real soon.